Hey everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Her. Today we're going to be covering DWAC and Truth Social and where the stock is, where it's headed. I haven't actually ever covered it on this channel because I was wanting some time to go by, because my opinion, if you're in our Discord or in our Facebook group, has not changed. My opinion on this stock has not changed. And this has nothing to do with Trump or Biden or any agenda. It has to do with the business, the stock, the numbers, what it's doing, what its competition is. Like, I honestly don't care for either Biden or Trump. Back-to-back losers, right? And some people might not like that. But hey, this is my channel. I'll do what I want, right? You're on here. You can click off. I don't care. If you want to hear what I have to say, then stick around. Whatever. We'll see what happens. But for a while, I've been saying, and this is before Truth Social launched and the whole thing that happened with them and what's happening now, right? I said that the odds are against them. I mean, they're going to be competing against Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat and TikTok, right? And Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter, I mean, they've been in the game a long, long time. And there's a lot of other threats besides free speech that are that required to run a social network, right? One of them being cyber warfare. I don't think, honestly, I don't think Trump and his team were really ready for that side of things. The whole infrastructure side, the security side. Facebook has done a lot and Twitter does a lot from attacks from other countries and stuff that honestly we don't even see. Like, we won't even see most of the stuff. Most of the stuff's behind the scenes, stuff that they're fighting other countries, misinformation, and that's the whole thing that why Trump started Truth Social is because of a lot of misinformation. But he'd have the same problem because other people, if it's a public website that you can sign up for free, anybody can sign up and start manipulating the news. So how do you determine, like he was upset with Facebook and Twitter, how do you determine what's real, what's not real? How do you fact check that, right? And over time, whether you like it or not, Facebook and their algorithms, Twitter and their algorithms are very, very, very good at showing you what you want to see and not what you want to see. Even if you're far right, far left, in between, the algorithm will show you what you want to see. If you're far right, it'll show you stuff about the far right. If it's far left, it'll show you about anything about the far left, and in between, right? If you're like me, you're like, hey, I don't. Back to back. Never mind. This is not a political video. Okay, this is about the stock. So the business itself, Truth Social, I knew, listen, you're going against Facebook, you're going against Twitter, and all you really have to say is hey, this is going to be a great place to tell the truth, have good information, verified information. But how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? You're going to have people, you're going to have systems, you're going to have, there's moderators in Facebook and Twitter, TikTok, and they say they see some pretty awful stuff, right? A lot of bad things, and not just political people doing things to each other, whether it's, I won't get into that, but it's graphic. I mean, you can look it up, Google Facebook moderators. They have to go to therapists, counseling. I mean, it's not an easy job, right? So you're gonna have to deal with all that. Now, on the day of launch, I tried to find some kind of in-between news sources here. On the day of launch, nobody could get in. I mean, they had a wait list, and a lot of the people that are still waiting are still waiting. So this came out on February 21st, 2022. Donald Trump's media group released Truth Social, but a scan of its app's API using publicly available tools revealed that it's already closed itself to registrations. We won't get into some of this other stuff, but Truth Social, and I do remember at the time Truth Social came out, it was number one in the App Store, right? Right now, I'll refresh this right here. Right now in the App Store, and this is only in iOS. They don't have it on Android or Google Play Store, is currently number 20. So it has fallen from number 1 to number 20 in social networking. And there was a time where Truth Social was number 1 over the overall App Store. Now it's number 20 on social media. So right now, at the point on the day of launch, and you can look this up. I mean, Google this, but I mean, if you talk to people that are trying to sell here, they couldn't sign on. There was a wait list. They had to wait. They couldn't get on. And there was a lot of frustration, and it killed a lot of the momentum. People couldn't get onto the platform, right? A lot of people couldn't get on. And then, just today or yesterday, 2 key tech execs quit True Social after troubled app launch, right? And this just came out April 4th, 2022. So he's losing his key tech execs. And I mean, we knew it was going to be hard. I mean, Facebook and Twitter, 10 years in the game, and everyone's like, drinking the Kool-Aid and think it's going to be great. But what does a social media network need outside of the tech side? Like I was saying, security, moderation, infrastructure. You need to make money. In DWAC was actually down 15% today, and I'll actually go through the numbers here in a second. I'll do a technical analysis on the actual stock, but just kind of look at that. They're at a 1.79 billion market cap. You're like, oh wow, that's great, right? But you're going up against Facebook, 630 billion market cap, and you're like, oh, that's pretty big. Market cap here on Twitter. Twitter's a lot smaller than Facebook, but still has a 40 billion market cap. So you're saying, this guy has a 1.79 billion market cap. So not even 2 billion is going against a market cap of 40 billion and over 600 billion on Facebook, right? Now forget about market cap. You're like, oh yeah, this thing could grow into something big. This could be whatever. But at the end of the day, you need profits. You need to generate money. You need to generate, you need money to invest in, the stock. You can't just invest in it and hope. I mean, there's been how many social networks have flopped? How many? You can't even count them all. And what are we left with right now? Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, right? So Twitter's profits, this is off their last balance sheet here. They had a revenue of 1.57 billion. So their revenue for the quarter was almost as much as the market cap of True Social or DWAC. Net income came in at 181 million. Sure, this is down, but still, this is a positive number. Net income is 181 million. That's to the good. Positive. Operating income, 167 million. Profit margin, 11.5%. Right? So these are all positive numbers. Sure, they went down in cash a little bit, what their net cash is, but they're generating money. They're printing money off of their framework, off of their network, off of advertisements. Does True Social have any advertisements? Are they allowing any advertisements? Right? As an investor, that's the questions you have to ask. What's the plan for the future? Having a free social network is not going to make you any money. Facebook is coming in hot, right? With 33 billion in this is Q4, so December 2021. 33 billion revenue. Revenue was 33 billion. That's like 15 DWACs, right? Net income, 10 billion. Profit margin, 30%. I mean, this is huge. Facebook, whether you hate it or not, Facebook is printing money right now. And one of the things that I was thinking about is like, hey, why are you starting your own network when you could have bought one, right? Where Elon Musk was even weighing the options. What did Elon do? Instead of, Elon took the high road, right? Or the smarter road. He currently bought 9.2% of Twitter. And he just made it on the board. He's on the board of directors. He just got elected to the board of directors. They're not good. They're going to make sure he can't own more than 14%. But Elon took the path of less resistance. He wanted change in Twitter. He's been very vocal about his change in Twitter, such as Trump. Trump was very vocal about his changes in Facebook, and he's trying to sue Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey and Twitter and doing all this stuff. But you know what? Trump couldn't do it because he's not rich enough. I know some people, that might not sit right with some people, but it's true. Trump's not rich enough to do what Elon's doing. Elon took the path of least resistance and bought almost 10% of Twitter. which is incredible. And he's on the board of directors, going to directly influence how that happens. He already took a poll yesterday saying, hey, do you want an edit button? And the CEO of Twitter also tweeted that, saying, hey, the results of this poll are going to be, they're going to matter. They're going to matter. So the CEO is paying attention. Elon is on the board of directors. And meanwhile, True Social's over here just flip-flopping away, and Trump is being Trump and doesn't understand why it's not working, why it's not gaining traction, So, forget the whole censorship thing. When you're thinking about, investing in a company, you need more than that cult following. You need profits. You need to generate revenue. You actually have to allow users to sign up. If users can't sign up to your platform, well, you get the idea. Anyways, so kind of looking at the stock here, DWAC. I mean, when the news came out that this was going to have a reverse merger, it went up to 175, came all the way down, hasn't even touched it since, not even anywhere close. It tried to tap 100 back here early March, but it's been just basically straight down. Today, again, like I said, almost down 16%, shed $8. I just think that, when you're investing, you need to know what you're investing in. Just because it's tied to Trump, look at Trump's past business dealings. The best thing that Trump has done is he's sold his brand, that is Trump, TV shows, celebrityness, like his likeness, and become president. Those are his successes. Business successes, you don't have to look too far to know that. And I get it. I'm in business too. You're going to have a lot of failures, and everyone's going to point out your failures and be like, hey, look at you. You failed. You're terrible at business. But you need a lot of failures to be successful. Trump had a lot of failures, and he's successful, right? Maybe not in business, but he's a successful politician and successful celebrity, where his brand name is worth probably a lot more than a lot of his companies. It is what it is. I'm just giving you the truth here. But, kind of looking at it here, this thing is literally dying. We are below, currently trading at close at 48. We are below 200-day moving average, 50-day moving average. We're below all indicators here. This thing is just cratering. And there is no sign of it recovering. And I don't think it will unless there's some major changes. Now, they could turn things around. But if the ship is sinking and you're running a social network, it's very, 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 very hard to turn around, if not near impossible. So, honestly, I don't think it's going to turn around. I don't think that, and we can watch this video in a year, 2 years, see what happens. I hope I get my words. I hope it's successful. But as an investor, as a trader, you have to look at what it is, right? You have to look at what it is, and it's not making any money. People can't even register to the site. It's just sad. It's just sad. It's going to probably tarnish his brand. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what your opinion is. Leave a comment below. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.